Welcome to the 2 Hour Track Challenge premiere for June 22nd, 2019. Every week I like to try to find a couple hours to make some music, push my creative boundaries within this time limit of 2 hours, and give myself a chance to experiment with some styles or instruments that I don't normally get to use in my main projects. And also it's just practice for making music in general. And sometimes it comes out with cool results. So a couple of weeks later, I like to share it with the world. First, I'll start off by playing the song here, and then after it's finished, I will take a look back at how I made it, and then we can just figure out a title for the song, and make up a quick video so that it can go up on YouTube, so that you can listen to it alone without me talking about it. So let's start by playing the song. Right. So, a couple of major factors sort of inspired that song there. That looks a little too low. There we go. That's better. Um, Looking at previous songs that I had been working on in the recent in my recent tracks. Um, I kind of mentioned this last week, but like Help Me My Sanity Fell Down, Plumber's Adventure for Clean Teeth, and Flight of the Orange Bucket. I basically did those in an hour and a half, and this is a 2 hour track challenge. So really, I wasn't really challenging myself all that much. I was just kind of throwing shit together. I made a song in 2 hours or less. It's just that I could be using these using another half an hour to make something really cool, and these are just kind of cool. So that's when I started to like last week when I made 6 minutes, or the week before I made a song that's 6.5 minutes long. That's a way to try to do something a bit more challenging, and it was still kind of that same sort of uninspired thing. It just goes on for 6.5 minutes, which was a challenge, but I wanted a different sort of challenge this week. Wanted to play around with some dynamics, changing dynamics within the song and whatnot. The day that I did this was a Saturday. and I was in Ben Burns' stream, and we were just chatting about 2 hour track challenges because he's actually the one that gave me the original idea to do a 2 hour track challenge every week, even. Um, and we were talking about the concept of doing a full orchestral piece in 2 hours and how it's probably pretty hard to do. And after we had talked, I was thinking about it. I was like, that's what I want. Something that's harder to do, a bit more of a challenge. So I went and did that. I've been wanting to play with the symphony series libraries a bit more in depth anyway, so that worked out pretty good. So I got percussion up top just because that's where I usually have my percussion. And then I grouped everything else. I grouped everything in this project here. So I got the strings, the woodwinds, and the brass. It doesn't have all the instruments in the orchestra, which is kind of what the challenge was that we were talking about. But let go of the right mouse and grab the wrong mouse. That's what happened there. But like I got all the got the violins, violas, cellos, and basses in the string section. Starts with the violins and violas there. And then the woodwinds, clarinet, flute, and bassoon. It's missing something. Oboe. That's woodwind, right? I think so. And then I'm really bad at this stuff. And then brass. I put in horns and trumpets. Or trumpet. I can't quite remember. Probably the whole section. And that's missing a couple instruments in there as well. As far as mixing here goes, if you look at all these, I have the violins. If you look at the chart of an orchestra, or how an orchestra is normally laid out, this is something Varian said in a video long, long ago. The violins are off to the left, violas are kind of more centered, the cellos are off to the right, and the basses are also off to the right, a little bit farther back, so the reverb on the bass is a little bit higher. And of course, this is all kind of estimation. I didn't have time to really fine-tune the reverb to make it sound perfect. I don't know if I could make it sound perfect anyway, but on being on a 2-hour time limit on top of it was I just kind of estimated. But yeah, I did that sort of mixing for everything. The farther back it is, the more reverb it gets. The more left it is, the more, and then also positioning it on the in the panning. And then these groups are just to keep things organized. Oh yeah, and the percussion, which I hadn't used Symphony Series percussion yet up to this point, and I wanted to. So I made sure to add some percussion in there to find things. Things are popping up in my face. Start with a bass drum. That's about all the percussion that I ended up putting in there. I meant to put in more later, and then it just never felt that it needed it on top of the time limit. And these are all different instruments within context, so that's why there's a different track for the cymbal. I guess let's look at the song structure, because I'm really quite happy with the song structure in this. So we start off with the violins and the violas, and a clarinet doing a little melody here. Kept it quite slow, and I didn't want it to be anything upbeat. I quite like this slow, pretty sort of stuff, right? And then at some point this percussion comes in. Does a little drum roll. Although it's kind of distant, so it did kind of get lost in the mix eventually, but figured it out. So a little bit more got added there, and this was kind of the sort of the thing that I wanted to work to try with this track, is to get more added within, get more layers that come and go, I guess. So cellos come in here, the basses come in here, the bass strings, that is. Oh, by the way, this since it's very obvious there, this is telling Contact how to play the basses, because it changes. Or I guess not exactly telling Contact, but telling string ensemble. Yeah, so if you watch that legato, and then it changes to sordino sus vib vibrato when you hit C sharp 4. So that's what these things are. This is a staccato, I think it was, and then this is so C4 legato, that's what it was. I didn't think staccato was right. And then once it hits C sharp 4, then it switches to sordino sustained vibrato, I guess, is what that means. But yeah, anyways, then we also add the flute to the melody here. And the bassoon. The bassoon was actually a very last minute addition. When I was listening to it, it had only a few minutes left in the timer. And it felt like it was missing something, and it felt like it was specifically the woodwinds that were missing something. So I added the lowest thing in the orchestra, the bassoon, the deepest instrument, just to help fill it out. And I think it worked pretty well. So anyways, yeah, got the clarinet doing its usual sort of melody with just long notes. Flute comes in and does its own little thing. Still keeping it quite slow-paced. Although that note feels a little bit short when it's soloed, but it doesn't feel like it stops suddenly in the rest of the mix, I think. And then the brass also, at this second part here, added some horns. I wanted to solo that. And trumpets, which are pretty similar here. I don't remember doing this, but I guess I did. I remember doing that now. Oh right, I did that here too, stacking a couple of them. I can't tell these two things apart. That's just to add depth to the orchestra. At the intro to this part, when I was writing this, the cymbal was already in, and it was just sort of this first part here. Had the bass drum and had the 4 hits with a cymbal at the end. And it just kind of, the violins were just kind of ringing out at that point. Actually, I think, oh right, I remember now. I had originally went straight to the ending, or this later part. Yeah, this here is where originally it went after the cymbal. And it's quite similar to the first part, except that we have cellos and basses instead of violins and violas. Also the horn. Um, and so that was the second part originally. And actually, the cello wasn't there, I don't think, originally. I think it was just the bass. The basses and maybe the horn. That was originally here. Along with this violin taking that really long note. Way up high. But when I listened back to that, it felt like I wanted it to shift to something different first, and then come back to that. So that's where I just grabbed this end piece of the violins and anything else that was there at the time and just moved it to the end. Moved it quite a ways away. Figured out what I wanted to do in this middle part. And actually, when I grabbed this, I grabbed it at the wrong spot because I wanted to grab it after the cymbal, and I accidentally grabbed it before. So that's why the cellos and the basses do that little bit of a chord there, and then just stops, just to allow that sort of simmer period that the cymbal originally created. So the cellos still come in before its part, just to say I'm about to be here, I guess. And then it all goes along with the basses and the violins and violas, so the whole string section is here. I just put it together manually instead of using the pre-built string ensemble like I have been using with this library. Oh, cellos, yes. Very orchestral, actually. Yes, cellos are very nice. How are you doing, component? So now we're getting back into that section where I grabbed it from the beginning and it ended up being at the end. Horn takes a little melody. Needs more apocalyptic. I mean, you gotta keep in mind that I did this in 2 hours, right? You know what? Now there's part of me that's like, I should do an Apocalyptica style 2-hour track challenge, and it's like, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. So this ending, from when I first dragged it back here, that would be hella awesome, yeah. I think, like I was saying before, I think I added the cellos after I realized that it was an ending, because it felt like it was missing the cellos from here. Got so used to hearing the cellos in here, and then felt like it still needed it here. Also, a little blast of the violas. Just that it's not quite just sudden boringness, and the horns take the melodies. The flute, I do have flutes. Not at that part of the song, though. Just in the center here. It's coming right around here. Yeah, for someone that, considering I don't make orchestral music all that much, and I just did this in 2 hours, I'm actually really happy with this. Like, I think that as far as shift and dynamics goes, and just, I guess, environment building, this is definitely going on my favorites list of 2-hour track challenges I've done. So I really like how it starts off simply, and then comes around to a um, to a little bit more fuller of a sound, and then ends at a different simple. Whoop. Yeah, nothing at the end there. I probably, yeah. There's a bit of automation right at the end here, just to make sure that no sound is still ringing out. It's a normal habit of mine, just because sometimes I do keep things. Sometimes my sounds ring out quite a bit, and I don't want it to cut off at the end of the track now, so I don't want to wait 10 minutes for the sound to stop ringing out. So it's just a quick little fade out, just to make sure everything's actually off. But that should be all the automation in this track, because I don't. This was not automation was not the focal point of, not even remotely the focal point of this track. It's making an orchestral track, seeing if I can do a track with all the elements of a modern orchestra in 2 hours, which I almost did. I'm still missing a couple, and I don't remember their names. Oboe is one of them. And I never remember what else is in the brass section. And I guess depending on what modern orchestra you look at, I guess you could look at the flutes and everything too. Not flutes, harps. Maybe pianos. Trombones, yes. I don't know how I didn't think of that. It's not sax, is it? No. Is it sax? Oh, okay. I thought it was something else. Oops. Just trying to see the picture that I keep referencing for positions of everything. Tubas! That's the one I'm thinking of. Tuba is the other thing that I didn't, that I never ended up putting any in. Sousaphones. Anyways, I should figure out a title for this track. So let's play the whole thing here again. Do I have any ideas? I do not have any ideas written down. Oof. So just start preparing this. I kind of feel like this is somewhat foresty. Though not quite foresty, so maybe edge of the forest. Edge of the forest. Any other ideas? A walk in the park, yeah, that works too. I like your capitalization better than mine. Capitalization in words like in and the is like it's a rule that's so often broken that I've just gone numb to it, and I just keep forgetting what I'm actually supposed to do. I was feeling better, but you know, I'm getting there, I think. Actually, no, can I, an early winter walk in the park? What do you think of that? Because it does feel like it's, like the snow's just about to start falling. Um, Time of year. In or not capitalized unless it's the start of the name. Yes to the winter. An early winter, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, exactly. To the in and the and thing. It's just one of those things that's I just I've seen it broken so much that I forget all about it. I've gotten too used to it. An early winter walk in the park. Cool. 622. Yeah. That cough hurt my head. Right. I already exported that, so I don't need to do that again. Let me open up the command prompt so I can make this video happen. (2019) 0622. You should do one that is made up of city sounds. Like sample like things like the cars driving past and whatnot. I when you say that, I imagine like New York City for some reason, or something like a lot of skyscrapers. Um, 22 no 2. Um, Interesting idea. 622. But like, what's the extent? Like, should every sound be made up of construction noises and cars driving past and gaggling crowds? That would be an interesting challenge. Command prompt did not open. Yeah, just like, okay. I've already done my challenge for this week, so I will keep that in mind for next week. Winter walk in the park. I always forget to name it there, and I'll get confused. Like, I already premiered that track. Just one more quick thing before I shift the stream over. Is I'm going to type that title one more time here. Because I'm now creating titles for this premiere specifically, and it involves a screenshot of all this. This is a... You know what, I'll just collapse this. This is one of the biggest projects I've done in Ableton. But this is also the reason that I got a version of Ableton that supports this many tracks. There we go. What? No. Copy this. Into here. Cool. And just do a quick export of this. So that's about all for the premiere for this track. I'll be back with another next premieres for a track that I can't remember at the moment. But I seem to remember challenge myself with it. And I'm just going to shift the... Cheers.